Hi, Comic Core, and welcome back to another Game of Thrones recap episode. So, episode 2 of season 8 just came out this last Sunday, and if you don't want the episode spoiled, if you haven't already seen it, maybe click away, but don't click away because I'm sure the internet's already spoiled it for you if you haven't watched it yet. But alert, we are going to have spoilers. I'm going to go into all the big points. I'm going to talk about several things that are going on with several different characters, as well as what I think is going to happen in the next episode. And we got a lot to dive on into, so let's get right on into it, shall we? First off, as we open into the episode, we get to see Jaime Lannister, and he's a little stressed out at the moment, and rightfully so, because he is standing in front of Daenerys Stormborn, first of her name of House Targaryen, as well as Jon Snow, ex-King of the North, and Sansa Stark, Lady of Winterfell. And they are all there to pass judgment on Jaime, whether or not he's allowed to stay at Winterfell, whether or not he's going to be facing any charges. There's a lot to go into there. But, of course, Dany starts off with the wonderful retelling of Viserys Targaryen, aka her abusive brother, who was murdered by Khal Drogo in the first season, and the stories of the Kingslayer and what they would do to him if they ever met him face to face. So, of course, Dany's got a lot of murder in her heart right here when she meets Jaime, and rightfully so. This is the man that she ultimately blames for her family's biggest downfall, for the murder of her father, and, her being exiled and running for the rest of her life, basically, up until this point. And now she is face to face with him. Now, we also get into Sansa being ill at ease with Jaime there, and Jon being ill at ease with Jaime there. However, Tyrion goes to speak up in favor of his brother, but of course he's going to do so because that's his brother. Now, the one card who we did see coming, but I am very thankful happened, Brienne of Tarth, actually steps forward and states that Jaime Lannister is an honorable man, that while he was her prisoner and they were later taken prisoner, a number of men attempted to force themselves on her, and Jaime protected her and ultimately lost his hand for it. So yeah, and then later gave him her sword and battle armor that she's currently wielding in order to save Lady Sansa and restore her home because of a promise that he made to Katlyn Stark. So many connections from earlier seasons, but Sansa having Brienne as her sworn protector, having her being at her side last season or so, I mean, this is someone who she trusts with their life, and if Brienne trusts Jaime with her life, then she's in favor of Jaime staying. And Jon ultimately comes to the conclusion that, he doesn't like him, he doesn't exactly trust him, but, I mean, the army of the dead's coming, and they need more able-bodied men, so welcome to the fort. I do like the fact that Dany actually respects kind of the democracy here. It's 2 against 1, and instead of her just overruling it and being like Dracarys, having him burnt alive or fed to her dragons, she allows the Starks their rule and allows Jaime to stay. even though she fully is aware that this could end up biting her in the ass later on. And of course, a number of her council are not very pleased with Jaime staying around. Grey Worm, in particular, gets right up in his face and gives him a stink eye. So, you know, awesome Grey Worm. Just being there for his queen 100%. So there's so many different moments throughout. We find out that this is going to be basically the last night until the army of the dead arrives in Winterfell. So during this last night, we see a number of characters bonding over one last drink, one last story, one last actual night together in some cases. So diving right back into that, we have everyone from like the Night's Watch and the Wildlings returning to Jon Snow's side, and you know, a lot of great moments there. Torment, Army of the Dead's coming. Oh hey, is the big woman still here? Because you know, Brienne, always got that Brienne on his mind. But that was amazing. Really, really loved that. We got to see both Jon and Sam having this moment where Jon tells him if Sam wants to, he can stay in the crypt with the women, you know. He's not exactly a fighter and he doesn't exactly need to be. And Sam calls him out, stating that he was the first one to kill a White Walker, and he's done a lot of really cool things, not even being a fighter. And, you know, he stole a bunch of books, so that's got to be worth something. I mean, Sam really stands up for himself, and, you know, kudos for him. He's not always my favorite character, but kudos for standing up for himself. Also, in this scene, we get to see a little glimpse of Ghost. I don't care who in the comment section is going to say it's a random direwolf. Why on earth would the Starks just have a random direwolf hanging out that just happens to be white? No, it's Ghost. Let's face it. HBO is saving all that money for the dragons and the battles. They're not saving it for a random ghost. So they just put Ghost in the corner, not doing anything. But I'm still super happy to actually see him. Welcome back. Welcome back, Pup. Welcome back. But continuing on, Jon, he's really been icing out Daenerys. And it's because, you know, it's kind of awkward to find out that you were doing the deed with your aunt. And, you know, now you might be the rightful king of the Seventh Kingdoms that, you know, she's been vying for, so that's awkward. But Dany clearly at edge because she is being iced out by Jon right now. She's quick to basically jump down anyone's throat for speaking against her. Kind of call back to the Mad King and the Mad Targaryen thing there, but she gets in Tyrion's face about trusting his sister, about how there was no way that he should have ever trusted Cersei, and that she was stupid to trust him, and that really hurts Tyrion. And a number of different characters actually speak to Dany in order to kind of help Tyrion throughout this. So first off being Jorah, which Jorah actually tells her that while it did break his heart when he came back to find out that she had put the hand pen on Tyrion's lapel, now he's the best choice. I mean, his mind has far surpassed so many others, and that he is quite a hand. So, you know, she needs to lighten up on Tyrion a little bit there. And then later, when she's actually going to try to fix things with Sansa, believing that, you know, maybe this whole rift between her and Jon is caused by Sansa not liking her, she's very quick to do everything she can, try to ease everything over. And the two actually have a great conversation. They talk about Tyrion, they talk about Jon and Dany's love for Jon and everything that he means to her. And then Sansa plays the northern ruler that she is, and she asks, what of the North? After all this is said and done, what of the North? The North is one of those 7 kingdoms that you are saying you're going to claim. And Dany is very quick to pull her hand away from Sansa at that moment. Which, can we just take a second to look at how badass Sansa is this entire episode? I mean, she's gone from this quote-unquote stupid little girl that she calls herself, you know, with stupid dreams that she's referred to herself in earlier seasons, the first and second in general, to now this grown woman, this ruler with battle scars of her own, and she's there to do everything she can in order to keep her people. So, you know, good for you, Sansa. You're doing great. But moving on, we have Theon Greyjoy returning to the fold, and he tells him that all's good with Yara. You know, she's taking back the Iron Isles in Dany's name, and he's there to fight for the Starks. And he and Sansa both embrace and have a great welcome home hug, which, by the way, like, everything those two went through together, I completely understand them needing to take solace in each other in that last night and just kind of hang out. You know, good for them. Good for them. But continuing on, we see all of these epic, sarcastic warriors all sitting down to drink during the final night, which, you know, no one's going to sleep. No one's going to sleep that night. But in the same room, we get both the Lannister bros. We get Podrick and Brienne. We get Torment. We get the Onion Knight. It's just a full round table of just awesome characters. And they're just telling all these stories of battle. And Torment's story of being made strong by drinking giant's milk, that was kind of awesome. And, you know, just him having that huge horn of ale, which, you know, there's some kind of poison in there. If he's drinking it, there's got to be some kind of poison in there. But him offering his final night to Brienne, definitely a funny moment. And I'd have to say the star of that episode, especially in this one scene, is Sir Brienne of Tarth of the 7th Kingdoms. So, Torment finds out that Brienne is not actually a knight, and he doesn't understand why, because, you know, she's such an awesome fighter and everything that she's done. Why is she not a knight? And Brienne tells him that, you know, women just aren't knights. It's not something that's done. And that's when Jaime's saying, well, you don't really need a king to become a knight. All you need is another knight. And at first, she feels like Jaime's finally there to poke fun at her. And he's telling her, like, dude, come over here. Do you want to be knighted or not? And she kneels, and he does the whole knighting ceremony, and everyone in that room, for the first time in her life, no one's laughing at her. They're all cheering her on, and this is just such a great moment for her. Especially when you remembered the story of her at the ball, where the boys were just laughing at her, where now they're truly proud of her and honored to be in her company and honored to battle alongside her. It means the world to her, and that was such a great moment, honestly. Very, very happy to see that there. Can we talk about Arya for a second? Arya Stark, I understand when we started the show she was like 12, 10, something like that. But she's grown up, and as uncomfortable as that sex scene was to kind of watch in a moment. When you think about how young she was when she started this, she's a grown woman, both in real life and in the show. And there are very few instances in the show where you see a female character losing their virginity and it's not violent and it's actually something they want. So, you know, kudos for her. And she's such a predator. I mean, Gentry did not stand a chance. The whole scene with her throwing the knives and her looking him up and down, she looked like a big cat ready to pounce him right then and there. And when you actually see her disrobing and you see all of the scars that she has on her body, and thankfully we did not see too much of her body, because that still is a little my little sister on the screen. But you know, kudos for her. She's just a badass throughout. And you know, if she wanted to lose her virginity on her final night, why not? Right? She's killed people. She's ready to go to battle. Let's do it. So back to the Mormonts. Both Jorah and Lyanna, little lady bear. We know I love my lady bear. But Jorah is trying to convince his cousin Lyanna to stay in the crypts during the battle, that she is in fact the future of their house, the only future of their house, and if she should fall during the battle, that their house could be lost to time. And she states that she is more than equipped to battle, that she's not afraid of death, and she took an oath to honor the Starks and to fight alongside them. And that is fully what she intends to do. And I love the fact that she refers to him as cousin. And she's very, very, like, she's this little girl, but she's such a badass. And she just demands so much respect in every conversation that she's in. And she takes zero shit from anyone. So super, super thrilled with that. I'm very concerned about my little lady bear being in this battle. I'm not gonna lie. She's still very small. I'm still very concerned about her, but we'll get on into that later on. So, same scene, we actually see Samwell Tarly walking to Jorah, and he's offering him his house's sword. It's Valyrian steel. Jon is wielding Sir Mormont's sword that was Valyrian steel, his house sword, and he feels like it's something that's right, because Jorah's father was more of a father to him than his own father really was. He cared for him more, and he would be honored to see Jorah wield it. And Jorah accepts. So, continuing on throughout, still so many amazing scenes throughout this entire episode. I'm not going to get to all of them, but just because I'm not trying to make this too long. But finally, Jon Snow just has the worst timing imaginable. So it's right before they're gonna go into battle and everything. He finally decides to talk to Dany, and he tells her that her brother didn't rape his aunt, and a big part of that is Lyanna Stark is actually his mother, and Rhaegar was actually his father. They were married in secret, and that his true name is Aegon Targaryen. And it doesn't take long for Dany to put two and two together and state that if that's true, then he's the last son of House Targaryen, and that he would have a claim to the throne. And this takes her a step back, because so much of what her character has been this throne, where Jon, it's been about his people, about this family, about this, about that. Dany, it's always been to get to the Iron Throne. That's what she's been raised on. Her entire life has been to get back to the Iron Throne, to take back what was taken from her family. And now she has another obstacle in her way. So as we close out the episode, we see the army of the dead approaching. And, it's going to be a rough night. A very, very bloody night in Winterfell. So, diving into it, who do we think is going to die in this episode? I know there's going to be deaths. There's no way everyone's going to make it out alive. There's so many White Walkers and just so much that could possibly happen. I have an entire list playing in my head from, I'm sorry, Grey Worm, you're my boy, I love you, you're House Targaryen all the way, but you had this great loving moment with Missandei, and you were talking about going to Narth with her and protecting her there, and it's like, oh gosh, my poor Grey Worm, I feel like you're gonna die. He's gonna die quick too. I'm not looking forward to that. But continuing on, House Mormont, I don't feel like both of them are gonna die, but it's either gonna be Jorah or it's gonna be Lyanna, and I love them both. Jorah has been my boy since the first season, and Lyanna, she's been my little lady bear since she walked on the screen and told a Stark off. I mean, I honestly feel like she's either going to die in battle or Jorah is going to die saving her in battle. Because I do honestly believe that he cares for his younger cousin and for continuing his house, even if he's walked away from that life or been banished from that house. Still his kin. And, you know, she's still a little girl. So, continuing on, Dany and Jon, I could go either way. I'm hoping they both make it out alive. I would say just to keep more viewers on, they'd both stay alive. But possibly one, possibly both. Maybe everyone will die this episode or the next few episodes. And then it'll all just go down to King's Landing and Cersei. That'd be a scary thought. But back to the Lannisters. Jaime and Tyrion. I honestly feel like Tyrion's going to be safe. Dany has ordered that he stay in the crypts with the women because his mind is very valuable, and at the end of it, she is going to need that mind if they survive. Continuing on, Jaime, Brienne. I honestly feel like if Jaime doesn't die protecting Brienne, Brienne's going to die protecting Jaime. I honestly feel like I could go either way here. Torment, he is the comedic relief. He has so much heart in these episodes. I feel like he's going to die. I'm really, really sad about that. Davos Seaworth, the Onion Knight, he is so awesome, and all the things that he has lived through and all the just amazing stories that he's told. I feel like he's going to die just because it's the final season, and it's Game of Thrones, and they have to kill off everyone that you love. I definitely feel like this next episode is going to be so bloody. The Hound, I feel like he's safe just because everyone knows we need Clegane Bowl. We need the Hound versus the Mountain, the zombie mountain that he is. We need that. If you deprive Game of Thrones fans that battle, I mean, there's going to be riots in the streets. Let's be honest now. We need that scene to happen. Continuing on, Night's Watch. I feel like almost all those guys are going to be dead. Ghost, I'm sorry. You're the last of the dire wolves that's still with us. I mean, Nymeria, she's running around somewhere if she hasn't already been eaten by a wild walker or something, you know, whatever. But Ghost, you're gonna die. I'm sorry. They're gonna have a White Walker direwolf, and we're all gonna be screwed. But I mean, if if the battle fails as epically as it possibly can, everyone in the North will die, because if they fail on the battlefield, then you know the White Walkers are getting into those crypts, and you know they're going to kill everyone down there. So I feel like this is going to be a very brutal, a very bloody episode. I feel like there's going to be a lot of tears. It's going to be a lot of me messaging back and forth to Chad, like, oh no, don't kill, oh no. It's gonna be, there's gonna be tears, there's gonna be screaming at the screen. I'm not looking forward to it, but it's Game of Thrones. We need to finally get down to the last bit of it, and we're definitely getting there. Oh, Theon Greyjoy, he's gonna be dead. Especially when they were discussing the plan of what to do and the strategy of the battle and how they're going to use Bran as bait. I mean, let's face it, if they get to Bran, everyone's going to be dead anyway, because apparently if you lose the three-eyed raven, then they forget about you, and if they forget about you, you might as well be dead anyway. Sam, I feel like Sam's going to be dead this episode. I don't see him surviving the battle, even for just Gilly and Little Sam. I don't see him surviving the battle. I mean, we're getting to the last bit of it, and I don't really know if anyone is 100% safe. If you're in the North right now, you're probably gonna die. Yeah. Game of Thrones. If you play the Game of Thrones, you are probably going to die. So, now that I have thoroughly depressed all of the Game of Thrones fans that are watching this, I'm so sorry, guys, but please do give me a like if you like this video. Comment below and tell me what you think is going to happen. Who do you think is going to die in the next episode? Because I have a huge laundry list of characters, and it could be a few characters or a million characters, which we know the Unsullied, they're probably, for the majority point, they're going to go. The Dothraki that are there are probably going to go. The Northerners, they're probably going to go. It's going to be bloody. So subscribe to Comic Core if you aren't already, because, you know, we're awesome. And we got a lot of different things going on here. All sorts of different comic book related content. Check out the live shows that are basically on almost every single night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday. Thursday, we're working on something on here. You know, you got me, so yay. Next episode, it's going to be a longer episode. It is going to be the battle for the North, for Winterfell. And since it's a longer episode, and since I've been having so much fun at this, I am going to have two other people on with me. I am going to have Comic Core Chad and John's Comics with Kids, because they're both Game of Thrones fans like me and are really, really excited about this and really, really brokenhearted that this is the final season. So, yeah, that is it for this episode of Comic Core. Please do all the things that I told you to do. Like, comment, subscribe. And until next time, I'm Katlyn. Bye.